This is the Pepwave 5G adapter. It's got a price tag of $399 and it brings 5G cellular WAN connectivity to any router with a single Ethernet cable. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set it up from start to finish, and I'm going to go over every setting that you need to ensure that you've got it dialed in perfectly. All right, let's get started. The Pepwave 5G adapter is just one of many mobility solutions that we offer at Crosstalk Mobile. So whether you're a digital nomad living in an RV or you're managing a fleet of vehicles that need rock-solid connectivity, Crosstalk Mobile has both the equipment and the expertise to get you outfitted with the best solution for your needs. Check us out at crosstalkmobile.com. One of the many devices that we offer is this Pepwave 5G adapter. Now, if you're familiar with UniFi World, this is essentially a robust version of the UniFi 5G Max, but it has more features and it doesn't have the memory surcharge. I'm going to be doing a complete deep dive comparison video between the Pepwave 5G adapter and the UniFi 5G Max in an upcoming video, so be sure to subscribe here on YouTube so you don't miss out. Let's now take a look at the device itself. If you're just interested in the setup, I'm going to put chapter markers down in the description so you can skip ahead to the actual setup steps. The Pepwave 5G adapter is $399. And if you buy it directly from our Crosstalk mobile store, you get free shipping and you can get 10% off equipment if you're pairing your purchase with a Crosstalk Mobile 5G Unlimited SIM card. Around the back here, we've got 4 SMA antenna connectors. The 5G adapter does come with antennas here, but you can also use an external antenna to keep this device inside and separate out the antenna to a better location, outside somewhere way up high. We have various cellular antennas, by the way, for sale in the Crosstalk mobile store. We've also got a 2.5 gig Ethernet port that can take PoE in. So, for example, at my own home, I use this device with my UniFi UCG Fiber, which has a PoE WAN port. But if you don't have PoE, you can also just use the included power adapter, or this will also take 12 or 24 volt DC power directly. This thing has a ton of SIM options. It's got 2 physical SIM slots. You can also use eSIMs. You can use remote SIM from an injector on your LAN, or you can use Fusion SIM in the cloud, which is super helpful if you're managing a fleet of Peplink devices remotely. And as an added bonus, Peplink also includes a 1 gig eSIM in every single unit, so you don't actually need a cellular SIM to set these up and then just connect them to InControl too. The 5G adapter also comes with a GPS puck for keeping track of where your equipment is at any given time. Let's now dig into the physical setup. The first thing you want to do is attach your antennas, the GPS puck, and then install your SIM card if you're using something like the Crosstalk Mobile 5G Unlimited SIM. You always want to install your antennas first before you apply power to the device so that you don't accidentally cook the radio. Plug an Ethernet cable from the 5G adapter into one of your router's WAN ports. The default IP of this device is 192.168.50.1, and it should be routable from your LAN right off the bat if you're using UniFi. If your WAN supports PoE, it should power up right when you plug it in, or you can use the included 12 volt 2 amp adapter, or you can plug it directly into 12 volt or 24 volt DC power. Now for this one, I'm going to go plug it in closer to the window so that it gets a better cellular signal. After a minute or so, you can open up 192.168.50.1 in your browser. The default username and password is admin, and then when you put that in, it's going to have you set a strong password immediately upon logging in. From the dashboard here, we can see our connectivity status. We see a green connected and cellular feeding into the Pepwave 5G adapter. And if we look in UniFi, we can see another WAN connection in the 192.168.50.0/24 network. Now this says Webbing USA, which means that we are currently running on the included 1 gigabyte eSIM. So let's fix that first. All right, so click into network and then click on cellular. And then you want to click on SIM priority. And here we can see that the Peplink eSIM is priority 1, and the SIM card that we put into SIM slot A is down in priority 2. I'm going to go ahead and drag SIM A up to priority 1, and then I'm going to drag the eSIM down to priority 3. And now we can just hit save and apply. And we'll give it a minute or so and it'll reconnect to the Crosstalk Mobile Unlimited SIM instead of the included 1 gigabyte Peplink SIM. After a minute or so, you will see this status go back to a green connected with this cellular right here feeding into the Pepwave 5G adapter. Now in UniFi, it might still say Webbing USA for a little while. That's okay. It just takes UniFi a bit to sort of catch up to the network that it's connecting to. If I click into network, I can now see my Crosstalk mobile static IP over here under IP address, so I know we're connected. A cellular static IP is a really good idea for 5G backup internet if your organization has any ports that are forwarded through the firewall. Now, those are going to continue to work, and they won't be CGNAT or double NAT by the time we're done here. If you want, you can also rename your SIM by clicking on Cellular here and then just changing the WAN connection name. I'm going to set mine to Crosstalk Mobile Unlimited. The next thing we're going to do is check our firmware version by going to System and then Firmware, and then you can click Check for Updates. Now, as of the recording of this video, I'm on firmware version 2.0.3 with no updates available, so we're all good there. At this point, we're basically done, except that we're double natting right now, and we're going to want to flip this into IP pass-through mode or bridge mode so that our router gets a real WAN IP. But I don't want to do that just yet. Let's take a look at a couple of other things first. Let's first check to see if we have a good cellular connection. So from the dashboard, we're going to want to click on the network tab, and then we want to click into the details option on our Crosstalk Mobile Unlimited SIM. Here we can see our live signal telemetry. SINR is the signal to noise ratio. So 20 plus is great, 13 to 20 is good, and then anything below that is considered mediocre or bad. Then we have RSRP, which is our raw signal strength, or in other words, how loud are we hearing the signal from the cell tower? So this is measured in negative dBm, and the closer to 0, the better. So I'm here at minus 85 dBm. That's actually excellent. Minus 100 is, okay. And then anything that's like minus 110 plus is going to be a bad signal. Finally, we have RSRQ, which is the signal quality. So again, measured in negative dB and closer to 0 is better. Minus 10 or better than that is good. Minus 15 is getting rough. And then minus 20 is really bad. Seeing these stats tells you a lot, including whether or not you may want to move your device or its antenna to a better location. Now in UniFi, they only expose the RSRP or the raw signal strength in the GUI, but we've seen cases where the signal strength is good, but the signal quality, the RSRQ, is bad. That's a sign of a congested cell tower. And with Peplink, it's actually possible to block out specific bands to force our modem to connect to a different tower. So for example, I can see here that I'm connected to 5G band N41, but if I don't like the signal that I'm getting on that band, I can go over to my SIM here. I can click on SIMs, and then for band selection, I can say custom, right? So what I would want to do here is basically just block out that N41 band or exclude any of the ones that I don't want to connect to, all right? So this level of granularity is what you get when you buy into Peplink. And then if you use Crosstalk Mobile for all of your cellular needs, that means you have actual engineers who understand this stuff and are ready to help you dial everything in. And by the way, this is also why we prefer Peplink devices to prosumer level hardware at customer sites. You can also see a more historical view of the signal strength if you go to status and then click on WAN quality, select your connection. Boom, there you go. So we can see after I plugged it in, we can see where the signal is bouncing around. And this actually helps a lot if you're moving the device around or moving the antenna around to different locations to see how the signal changes over time. One more thing before we flip our 5G adapter into IP pass-through mode, and that is connecting it to InControl 2. Now this can be done from InControl 2 by clicking into Devices and then Add Devices. You can select a group or organization that you're adding the device to, or a site name, and then you can optionally add tags like, in this case, I'm going to say Peplink 5G adapter. We like to use the model number as the tag, and then you just have to add the serial number of the Peplink. Now you can do this by typing it in, you can scan the barcode on the box, or you can upload a CSV file. Once the device has been added to InControl 2, it will now phone home. You can do this even when the device is offline, by the way. It'll phone home, and then you can remotely manage the device even from a factory default state. Or if it has been set into IP pass-through mode or bridge mode with no local access to the device. Now let's configure IP pass-through. Notice in UniFi that currently I have a LAN IP. That means that right now we're double NATing, and any ports that I want to feed in from the outside world are not gonna work. What we wanna see here is a publicly routable IPv4 address on the WAN port. So let's go back into the Peplink. So we can click on network, and then we can click on our cellular connection, and then right here we have the IP pass-through toggle. So let's go ahead and flip that toggle, and now we get a warning pop-up that tells us that accessing the router's web admin may require some special setup, but we don't care about that, right? And why? Because we already set this thing up through InControl 2. So we have remote access to it, even if it's in a factory default state, or if it's in IP pass-through mode with no local access to it through the LAN. All right, so we're gonna click OK, and then what we wanna do is select which VLAN we're passing through. In this case, it's super simple because we only have a single VLAN. It's the untagged default VLAN 1, and now we're gonna say save and apply. Now what happens here is we're gonna give it a minute or so to reestablish connectivity, and then in UniFi, we should see it come back with a real WAN IP. All right, so after a minute or so, we can now see that I have T-Mobile USA, that is our Crosstalk Mobile Unlimited SIM, plugged into Internet 2 with interface WAN 2, and I have a real routable IPv4 static IP address. There you have it, complete setup of the Pepwave 5G adapter. It's pretty easy, right? And if you do get stuck on any of these settings, the expert engineers at Crosstalk Mobile are standing by to help you out. Keep an eye on the channel for my complete Pepwave 5G adapter versus UniFi 5G Max video coming soon. And as always, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.